Behold, Convallaria majalis. Most people know this one as lily of the valley, but there are some other common names. Mary's tears, Our Lady's tears, those are along the same religious lines. Maybells. In my second language, Swiss German, they're called majalis, which would loosely translate to May risers, because of the early time of year that they come up. I always like to call them snow whites. Anyone? Anyone else? Lily of the Valley is a part sun to shade loving perennial, okay? It grows really well in woodland environments. It also loves acidic soil. If you have a tree in your yard, deciduous or coniferous, and it's not south-facing, chances are Lily of the Valley will be happy there. There's a few things I have to mention right off the hop that you need to know about Lily of the Valley. It's vital that you know these things. Okay, they're not problems if you know them, they're problems if you don't. Convallaria majalis is so toxic. Every part of this plant is poisonous, okay? It's full of cardiac glycosides, they're called. Don't ever consume it. Some people even wear gloves when they're handling it. I just wash my hands after every use, just in case. The nice thing about this toxicity is it makes the plant very pest resistant. The pests know. It's funny how a sweet little tiny beauty like this can be so poisonous. It's always the tiny cuties that get you. The second thing you really ought to know is its eagerness to spread. It wants to have a party, okay? The more the merrier. It's got these rhizomes and stoloniferous roots, and I'll get to what that means in a bit, but you need to use some kind of physical barrier if you don't want Lily of the Valley to take over your entire shade perennial garden. That good quality kind of rubbery fencing, you can push that really deep down into the soil. You can also cut up buckets and use those to stop the rhizomous roots from spreading underground. I've done that with comfrey and it works really well. Just has to be long enough. Push it very deep into the ground, like at least 6 inches I'd say, to stop those rhizomes in their tracks. Who's the boss of the garden? We like to think we are, don't we? Or you can just let them run rampant and do their wild, crazy thing. That can also be a beautiful path to take. See, this particular colony here is situated right under an old grafted crabapple tree. And every spring they are very eager and happy to pop up. And it's growing out onto the grass. It's even trying to take over the rest of the bed. So it's suffocating some lady's mantle here, some hosta, iris, ferns. This bed has no physical barriers, so it's just doing what it pleases. Here's a visual of some rhizomes. Very thick bulbous root system. So dainty above the soil, so aggressive below. These particular rhizomes are also stoloniferous rhizomes. For simplicity's sake, I'm just going to say that a stolon is a horizontal stem connection between plants. Stolons aren't the same as rhizomes because they're not part of the main stem. They just link plants under the ground. And then to spread, stolons link rhizomes to other rhizomes. Get it? Each shoot, or pip as they're often referred to, starts with 2 almost basal leaves on the ground. They eventually grow up and become sort of part of the plant higher up. And then you have this flower stalk coming out of the same sheath here. The whole thing becomes quite erect out of the ground and will reach a height of anywhere between 6 to 12 inches. Look at this beautiful work of art. It's like the leaves are like protecting this little snow queen. Each flower stalk can have up to 15 little tiny, super fragrant, super sickly sweet, tiny little bell-shaped flowers on it. Each flower comes off its own little stem off the main stem. It's called a raceme. White is the most popular color, but there are some pink varieties I've heard, never grown them. These little bumps at the bottom of each flower technically aren't petals because they're still sort of connected. They're called tepals. Oh my, not petals, not sepals, tepals. Lily of the Valley can produce red berries at the end of its season with seeds inside that are very poisonous as well. They'll also enable the plant to further spread, so not only are the roots a problem, but the berries can be too. However, here's the interesting thing. Your colony, let's call it, of Lily of the Valley will not produce berries if it's all one and the same. In other words, you have to have 2 separate rhizomous colonies in order to get berries. That's because it's what's called self-sterile. So if your really looking to stop the spreading of your lily of the valley, maybe also pick the berries. So, garden daredevils, you know you want to plant it. No, really, I hope all this information didn't scare you away, because it almost seems negative. Ugh, spreads a lot. Highly toxic. But now that you know these things, you can act accordingly to minimize the problems and enjoy the amazing sweet fragrance and the super cute appearance of this plant. It also makes super cute bouquets. It's like fresh jasmine almost. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you want to watch more videos like this.